I set out on this film, I had a question in mind. What preconceptions did we have about adulthood as kids? I set out to capture the youthful ignorance we have about growing up when we're younger and sort of transition that into understanding this awkward phase we're all going through today. We're all in the growing up process together. Hungry for answers, I set out to interview my good friend Nick.
But in my experience, I'm only like 23 now. What I found is that so far I haven't found that button or that red line that you cross that finally distinguishes you as an adult and is not a kid that acts on impulses. And also just from observation and looking at people around me and older people, I realized sort of that some people never really grow up, and that growing up, or rather becoming an adult, is kind of a choice. Like, you can grow up, but to become an adult you kind of have to choose. You have to like have certain habits or certain ways of doing things, and discipline, I think, is the most important thing.
Nick's answer made me curious. What is growing up? This process that seems so simple is such a complex thing.
Alright, well, one of the main things I can recall from when I was younger that I always thought about being an adult was just that I would have the freedom to do anything, or like you have the freedom to do anything, which technically you kind of do in this country, but I don't know, it's not as easy as it would seem, or it's easier said than done. And just because you have the freedom to do a thing doesn't mean that there aren't other things in play to, I guess, what's the word, impede your progress. Yeah, so I have met a lot of adversity as I've been growing up or whatever, and I've always wanted a lot, so I just feel like the more you want, it's almost like the harder it is, because you have to push so hard just to get from point A to point B, especially as an African American and a female. I don't think that there's a huge difference as far as like marginalization goes, because I grew up in Brooklyn at a time where everybody was black, and I've just always felt like if you really wanted it, you could have the same opportunities as other people. But just because of how I grew up and where I grew up, I literally just wasn't exposed to the same opportunities as other people. So that in itself was a type of adversity that I had to experience growing up.
While many people were a bit confused of what to expect for adulthood, Ellis seems knew exactly what was coming. So, are there any preconceptions you had about adulthood when you were growing up as a child?
Preconceptions about about adulthood. Well, when I was a kid, I always viewed adult life and adulthood as being both positive and negative. Positive in terms of being responsible with your life, on track, living out your story and your abilities, and then also raising a family of your own. The downsides, I would say, the negatives, is from my perspective of being a young kid and looking at adults, was how much stress, pressure, expectations, and just how much they didn't seem to enjoy life and the little things in life, which I highly valued when I was a kid. So what I would say is that when I was a child, my perspective on adulthood was both positive, but I also saw a lot of negatives based on how people acted and how they looked and their faces and their demeanors and feelings and whatnot. So that would be my both both the positives and the negatives on how I viewed.
I realized that growing up was so difficult to explain for so many people because we're all still going through this process. None of us are really grown up. We're all still trying to figure out which is our right direction.
So, are there any dream jobs you had growing up as a kid, or what did you think your profession was going to be?
Well, when people would ask, I would just kind of lie and say what I thought sounded like a good job to have. So for a while it was like a lawyer, but I didn't really want to be a lawyer. I don't know. I liked arguing my point with people, and I thought I wanted to defend people, help people, but I didn't really want to be a lawyer. I've always wanted to act. Always. Ever since I was like a little kid. For as long as I can remember, honestly. I've always wanted to be an actress and a singer and be famous and like influence people and change the world and be rich and make people happy and like leave a legacy. And so I've tried a bunch of different things throughout life because I don't know, they said do what you're good at, so that's what I went to school for journalism, and I edited a book that got published, and that was okay, but it was a lot of work and I couldn't see myself like doing it for the rest of my life. So yeah, I did that. I've worked a bunch of places. I've done a bunch of different things because when people ask what you want to do or what you're working on, to say, oh, I'm an actress is just like ridiculous. I always felt like, and I felt like it's so risky, again, as a black person, to, I don't know, seriously bank on like supporting yourself off of entertainment. But I've tried a bunch of different stuff, and now I'm finally acting, which is what I always wanted, what I always knew, which I probably should have did in the first place maybe, but sometimes I like to learn the hard way. So I'm glad that I like tried a bunch of different things up until this point.
Basically like my focus growing up.
What inspired that?
I don't know, I guess it's just sort of like a general like African kid dream job. Like if you ask most African kids, they'll tell you that they wanted to be either a doctor or an engineer. And yeah, like it's most developing kids from developing nations want to be doctors because it's seen as a prestigious job to have. Yeah, but it's also about fixing people, I guess. It's an interest I've always wanted to have. I've always had.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wanted, as I said before, I wanted to be a doctor, right? So I went into college as a pre-med student, and then when I had to take physics as a prerequisite for that major, I just kind of fell in love with it. I just wanted to learn more about what it had to offer and learn about the universe. You know, so far I'm still trying to figure out what that can give me in terms of a career, but it's more of learning about a way to approach the world more than anything. Yeah.
Although many people are still very speculative and wandering in this phases of their life, some people have already felt the weight of the world very quickly. And for some people, it can feel hard to really feel interested or creative in their day-to-day life.
You work and then you're tired and you come home and then we do stuff.
Well, yeah, because the way that things are structured, I work a 40-hour full-time week, you know. I'm getting up at like 4:30 in the morning. I travel all the way across Chicagoland to get to work, and then I drive another extra 45 minutes on the way home, like an hour and a half total. And I'm just so tired that like after my regular, even just days and on weekends when I have to do things, I can't come home and be creative like I want to. Like I don't know. I want to do things, and when I'm driving home, I listen to music and think about you know, what I could be doing with my skills. Like, and you know, I play guitar and I write and try and write music, but it never comes out as much as I have because I just don't have the time.
As you get older, you start to realize the stressors in the world. You realize why people have fixes, why they smoke cigarettes, why people want to escape.
What type of things do adults stress about?
Money, and money.
Yeah. Are there any troubles in the world that you were unaware of as a kid?
Like every single one of them.
It seems that no one truly knows which direction they're going in. Every day is a new journey and a new step on trying to become an adult. We are all going through these motions together. So we just have to remember not to get too strung up on today, because we are constantly developing ourselves.
Are you happy?
Am I happy? I think no, but I can say that I'm excited about the quest for happiness, I guess. Because I feel like if I were happy now, that'd be very boring, because then there wouldn't really be anything left to chase. But I think I'm excited about the journey that I'm on and trying to figure out what it is that will make me happy. But I don't think I am that now. I don't know. I sound confused as fuck.